Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about cannabis derivatives, the eventual sale for Part 2 in Canada coming up in October to December, depending on which product. On the line with us is Dan Kimmis, our CBD correspondent with Good CBD Products.
Hey, good morning to you, Chronic. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. So it looks like, according to Yahoo Finance, there's an in-depth breakdown of derivative products for sale in the United States. So Canada is going to become the first country in October to release Part 2 of their legalization, which is concentrates. So it looks like everyone is waiting in 2019, expecting the launch of derivative products in Canada by mid-December at the latest. So jumping into what all that means, where every U.S. cannabis dollar spent could wind up. It looks like flower sales at 43%, according to this article. As a commodity, I think you could see prices as low as 7 or 8 cents after harvest season. So I think that November this year is going to be no different in terms of companies that are willing to get out the game and sell everything they have, 1 million grams or more, at about 7.5 cents per gram. Tends to have been the repeated issue over the last couple of years. So I have no doubt that as a commodity sales, if it's almost half of all sales, those prices are going to continue to go down until companies are making derivative products with a higher margin.
Hey, you know, that attrition, right? The ongoing nature of businesses that are in the margin having product to essentially dump into the market, and how that affects the market until such time as basically the market has shaken all of those out, right? And so it's a recurrent theme we see is every harvest, you know, there's somebody who's out there saying, yeah, sure, I'll take that deal. And it's pretty costly and pretty impactful for everybody else.
I do see a huge increase in smokable flower, but I believe that's going to be hemp. You might start to see some 1-to-1 THC to CBD ratios, but I think as tobacco sales decrease, there's going to be an increase in smokable hemp, and then you'll start to see more THC percentages as that kind of normalization pushes out. But in terms of a commodity, you just don't hear about people talking about, cotton or general agricultural products as a commodity. It's just a really inexpensive crop that people make things with. And that's eventually where we're going to see all of that go to. Vaporizer pens are incredibly convenient, just like a joint, but even more discreet, smells better, I guess. And so vape pens are definitely going to be a big part, hitting almost 25% of sales. And so we've kind of seen that in every single emerging market where vape pens and pre-rolls and concentrate are the number one sellers. Vape pens obviously are going to increase in sales, although I'm concerned about the Juul lawsuit. Parent company Altria had gone up to Canada, put in $1 or $2 billion to make a vape pen, but Juul is being sued because of flavors. So if terpenes get thrown into the same e-juice lawsuit that's targeting kids, this whole vape thing could see a massive lawsuit in connection with potential traces of vaping products linked to an outbreak in lung issues. Sorry, let me just kind of jump in and see what exactly the medical issue is. They're having similar symptoms after vaping, causing some people to be hospitalized, in some cases teenagers. And so the individual state health departments are looking at those patients going into hospitals with mysterious illnesses linked to e-cigarettes. And so they're starting to take a look at the potential vaping-related illness in 22 states for lung deterioration and issues. So wondering if vaping warnings by the CDC should worry cannabis players. I think that's absolutely on point.
Oh yeah, again, when you consider the cost of shoddy manufacturing and when it comes to somebody's health, right? And the reality of as these things go air quote legal, okay, that means these enforcement agencies have to be involved. And, in a lot of ways, fortunately, and at the same time, this is the thing, right, is that level of rigor is really going to be shaking this industry up and out.
Mm-hmm. So on August 23rd, Illinois' Department of Public Health reported a case of death, likely due to the use of e-cigarettes or vaping. And so that's the first vaping-related death. They're definitely starting to look into that as people aged 17 to 38 have experienced respiratory illness after using e-cigarettes or vaping. And so I'm not sure what it is, if it's the actual vaping or if it's the byproducts within that e-juice. I'm not really sure, but they're definitely seeing the first outbreak of severe lung disease in those that use an e-cigarette or vaping device. And so the CDC's investigation is ongoing. They're working with state and local health departments and the FDA to learn the cause or causes of the ongoing outbreak. So I definitely think that being a litigious society, even Canada, let's throw all of North America into that mix, there will be lawsuits. I have no doubt about it. We've seen Eagle 20, an herbicide that's been in cannabis products that when heated up turns into a carcinogen, and that is not good. So definitely count on some lawsuits.
Oh, yeah. Again, in the end, the assumption is, oh, these people, they wouldn't sell me something that would hurt me. Who would do that? Well, again, when you look at some of these different, it's cotton candy flavored and it's this and it's that, it's like, yeah, it's a chemical mix and, I wouldn't be ingesting it as a vape or something else. Yeah. It's a scary planet, Chronic.
It is. It's a little frightening also that we don't have infused coffee in Washington. And that's not to make light of the previous scenario, but like in all reality, we should have ready to go products like coffee. So edibles and beverages are going to see only 13% of sales, which I think is really, really low. We've seen chocolate and those edibles become, number one sellers, gummy bears, all that stuff. I do believe that grab and go drinks will take over as soon as the emulsification techniques where the oil around the ring isn't there anymore and they have full products. Also, you're going to need the FDA in the US and Health Canada to get on board. Canada's already pushed out or delayed the release of October 17th for round 2 of edibles to December. And then we've seen even locally in Washington State where they've banned all CBD beverages and edibles, which is a shame for some folks that we know in the industry who have pivoted from THC to CBD, and then now they can't do that on pretty much the whole West Coast. So definitely a pivot.
The fact of the matter is, I was explaining this to somebody yesterday. We were talking, and the reason you can still get your cannabis-derived edible inside your 21 and over store at a Washington cannabis store is because they're illegal, so they're not federally regulated. The reason you can't get your hemp-derived CBD edible is because, well, the Farm Bill's in play, and now that means that the FDA is in play, and the FDA says, no edibles. So again, boy, it'd take you a half hour just to explain that one.
Yeah, I would really like Yahoo Finance to explain how they think concentrates are only going to be 9% of sales. So working the way down this list, Yahoo Finance is saying that cannabis concentrates are expected to make up about 9% of total U.S. sales, a category that should be especially popular with younger consumers. We're already seeing that extracts are the number 2 seller behind pre-rolls or flower. And so now I don't really agree that 9% of sales, I don't think that's accurate. Concentrates are definitely higher than edibles and on par with pre-rolls or flower. I think there's a lot higher than 9% though.
Well, I think the other thing about that is both from the user perspective, but then also from the producer perspective. If you've got an overstock of flower, the easiest way to actually store it and have it be a product that you can sell over time is, turn it to oil, turn it to a concentrate. Mm-hmm. So that to me is going to just drive a lot of, that'll be in the market and that'll be at a lower cost because there will be, they're going to need to at some level deal with oversupply for a long time.
No doubt, until they can make products that are really good, that have that terpene profile you're looking for. So moving down the list, there's pre-rolls, 7% of total sales. Again, I think that's much, much higher than what they're giving that. It's one of the number 1 products sold. Flower is 43%, and this is a subset within that. It's one of the number 1 products sold out there for sure. And so once we have automation, I just met with the group here in Washington last week about, $200,000 machine for automation, and that'll definitely increase sales beyond 7%.
Everybody loves a pre-roll. I love a pre-roll.
And then finally on the list is tinctures, sublingual sprays, topicals, and capsules at 5% of the market. And again, I think this is a lot higher than they're giving credit for, but it's still not as good. I would think that topical tinctures and capsules are 15% of the market. And that's what I'm seeing, at least in the Northwest, practically the West Coast. It could be higher because the baby boomer generation isn't buying these products. They're still buying Bengay and all these other things. And the CBD only doesn't work as well. There's some other people that have said the 1-to-1 works really, really well. But if you don't have some THC in there, it almost gives you no effect.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree, Chronic. Okay. So field data would tell me that it comes down to your metabolism.
I fully expect that this is going to be the fastest growing segment because it is the most medicinal. You're going to see a lot of people get into the topicals and the sublingual sprays and the topicals and the capsules, tinctures, all of that stuff. I think with vending machines, it'll be a lot more advantageous for people that don't want to go in the store. If you're going to buy a suppository or something of that nature, even a transdermal patch, it's going to be a lot easier to buy once it's in those Walgreens and CVS and Rite Aids and everything. I believe that this is going to be the fastest growing segment in 2020. So with that, we're going to I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.